I'm Marilyn Beatty Warnford, and I lived all my uh, child life here until I was probably 22 years old. And it's yours.
And I'm the Virginia Lampkin and Taylor, which my first husband, we graduated together. Then I married Emery after he passed away. And I was born here right up the street, and I'm still here just right up the street, 84 years. So I didn't get very far. But we used to walk from here to go over to Cornelius's restaurant to have lunch. That's when they let us leave. We could buy a hamburger and a pop for 10 cents. And then sometimes we might have skipped school once in a while in the afternoon when it was pretty. Did you ever do that?
Well, no, I guess I never skipped, but I remember, especially when I was in high school, that we would stop there and they had a jukebox.
A jukebox.
And if somebody had a nickel that they could play the jukebox, we would enjoy that. And you could probably get a Coke for a nickel. And sometimes the boys and the girls entertained each other there. You just kind of got acquainted, right. And it was nice and innocent kind of a life.
They had a shuffleboard, and if you got the high score for the week, you got a carton of cigarettes.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember trying to get the carton of cigarettes? Oh, Daddy always wanted me to win.
Oh, yeah.
Since he got the cigarettes.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh. But I enjoyed my school years here in Carnegie. The teachers were also nice, and I remember some of the teachers, especially if they were a coach, that you could get them off the track. The boys, particular, could get them off the track and talk basketball.
Yeah,
that was the main topic because then that was the only sport I think.
And you remember when Morris Hill beat Milan at the basketball? They got a big old bonfire in the middle of town. That's the only time Morris Hill ever beat Milan.
Yeah.
Remember that? They had that big fire going.
Yeah, they just, things that people now wouldn't think anything about, but, it was important when we were
back
young.
then we didn't have that lot to do.
And even the teachers here, they knew us and they knew our parents. So if the child did something that the teacher didn't think was right, the parent found out about it.
Oh, yeah.
And there wasn't any bad things that went on at school or even at the basketball games, I don't think.
No.
It was a very innocent life,
It was. It was. And it's a shame that all the kids and grow up to do the same. I think they miss a lot by going to a big school where they got 200 or 300 in a classroom where we had 25.
Well, you knew everybody in your class, you knew everybody in the class before you and after you.
Right.
And you just were friends with everybody. Maybe there were some people you might not be friends with,
right.
But the majority of the people were very, very friendly. And I remember when when I started school, we had to bring our lunch because there was no lunchroom. And I guess an organization, I guess they had parent-teacher, but anyway, they decided if the women, the mothers, wanted to can vegetables in the summertime, that this quart of vegetables, tomatoes or green beans or whatever, if they donated it to the school, your child could have a lunch that day.
And my mother started the cooking.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she was the first one that opened the kitchen.
Well, I remember.
And that's how they did it. Yeah.
Of course, now that would not be allowed. And
no.
I don't know how many years that went on, but that was how the first cafeteria sort of started.
Bud Rollins was the janitor here, and he asked Mother if she would consider coming over and starting at the kitchen. And Mrs. Glacken, remember
Yeah,
Mrs. Glacken?
yeah, uh-huh.
She was one of her mother started
Yes,
it,
yeah.
and I think mother was over here about 25 years.
Well, I even worked in, when I think I was 8th grade or 7th grade, long in there.
Worked in the kitchen.
I worked in the kitchen, and therefore, for maybe a half hour, maybe not that long, I washed dishes or dry dishes or whatever we did was all by hand, and we would get our lunch
Yeah.
for that duty, and there was other students that did
Did
that
the
too.
same thing.
Because I think, everybody's family was needing help as much as that. Everybody sort of worked together. None of us was real poor, but we weren't wealthy either.
Right.
And so that just everybody, and you had fun doing it. You would be down there taking care of the dishes, or maybe even
Right.
dishing out the food that the students were going to get. But
Then
now
Daddy took the janitor's job over here, and then guess what I got to do?
help him.
I had to help sweep these floors
Oh, did
every
you?
night
Well,
while we was still in school, you know.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. I think he started when I was in the 7th grade. That's when he got out of the service,
Oh.
and we come from Texas back up here.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And
well.
he took that job.
It's a different life than what, but it was good. There wasn't anything bad about it.
We all had enough to eat, and
Yes.
her mother made the best chocolate chip cookies. My mother always had oatmeal cookies, great big ones, and I always wanted to go to her house to get the chocolate chip cookies.
Well, we were playmates when we were young.
Yeah, and then we lost one of our friends last year,
Yeah.
Margie with her.
Yeah, I
The
remember.
3 of us grew up on same
on
street.
Same street.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And I did go to Margie's funeral and was.
I went to
was-
visitation. It was
But I don't know. Maybe you. I had a little playhouse in the attic of our garage upstairs.
yeah, up there.
And
yeah.
I know that Margie and I used to play there a lot, and maybe
yeah.
you came
I
and
did
played
too. Yeah.
We had our dolls and our make believe, and
Oh yeah.
we just that was, of course, when we were children.
Yeah.
Children, but it was
Like in the 5th, 6th grade, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, probably not any more than that,
Right.
maybe, and younger. But we'd have our dolls and give them their meals and give them their baths and feed them. Like, I guess we were all bound to be mothers.
Yeah, I guess so. But well, back then we didn't have all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the kids now. Now then, these 3-year-olds, they got these things going like this
yeah.
and playing those games.
Mm-hmm. I think our life was much simpler
It was so simple.
and easier too. But our families were all very good families and good to their children, and and there was a lot of families in town we all walked to school.
Yeah.
Even the buses didn't pick up anybody in town.
No, we never did. Did call school off because of snow. If you
No.
could get to school, you came to school.
Yeah, because we lived on the other side
Yeah.
of town from here. It just was a little bit of a walk,
And if
but
the
not
bus
bad.
drivers couldn't get to where the kids were, they didn't go pick them up. They just picked up the ones that they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm Randy Eichenroth. I went to school here 12 years. I started in 47, I think, and graduated in 59 here. And I enjoyed this school. And my dad was a bus driver here for years, and I used to ride the bus with him before I started school. And we had all good teachers here, and we had a good time. And I took agriculture, and I was in FFA, and we had a shop over under the gym, and I learned how to weld and do carpenter work over here. And we had class plays and stuff. And also, last 2 years of school, I worked in the kitchen just to get out of class, I think. And our dinner was only a quarter a meal. And I know I'd walk over town and take my quarter and buy baseball cards. And but we had a good class. We had a small class when we graduated. We had, I think, 17 in our class, and we've had a reunion every 5 years here. And my dad graduated here in 27, and my mom in 32, and all my family graduated here, and my wife went to school here for 9, let's see, 11 or 10 years, and then she had to finish up at the mountain school when they built it. And my kids all went to school here, and then they had to go to South Dearborn School to graduate because they built the school in '79. And my grandchildren went to school over to the grade school, the new grade school here, and we enjoyed all the teachers. It was all good. We had a good time, and when we were seniors, we went on a class trip to New York. We rode a train to Washington, D.C., and then a bus on to New York. And we seen a lot of New York and a lot of Washington, and we had a good class. We see them. We have a class party every 5 years, and a few of us guys we meet out to the reservation about once a month and have coffee. 4 or 5 of us guys. But tonight we're having a alumni banquet, and there'll probably be maybe 140 here. And we still got a woman. She's 104 years old, and she was in my mom's class, and she's still living yet. And she's has trouble getting around, but she's got a good mind yet. But she's 104. So it's been a good school, and me and my wife, we work up here now. We've been doing some work upstairs and trying to fix up the old rooms, and we've about got them all fixed up now. And we have some vents up here, and it's really been a blessing to me to go to school here.
I'm Mary Ann Ryle, was Ryle, when I started school here. And my grandfather brought me to the school before it was even open. And he said, honey, this is where you are going to go to school. And my mother and father had moved here just so I could go to school here. And because they had. And they for sure wanted me to be at school here. But my grandfather was so sweet, and he brought me in and showed me all around and everything. And I was so excited and so thrilled and so happy. And I loved school, my school, the whole time I was in it. I mean, you can't think of a better place to be in school than this place. It was wonderful back in those days. And I think I never get over it. And I probably bore people to death with, but I don't care. If I like it, I like it. And I spent many hours in this room studying and all that. So, and the whole place is just a part of me. I walk to school every day. I only lived like 2 houses down the street from the school. And that was a huge house down there. It's not there anymore, but it was huge, and we loved it. And it was perfect. Everything about it was perfect. It was just like, this is what God wants me to do. And then what do I do when I get married and I move to Texas? And all that after my graduation. Of course, I married a guy from here, because that's the only people I ever dated. And we lived there, and he passed away. But before that, we had three daughters, and we enjoyed living in Houston, but we always came back here. And we always came to the schoolhouse because of the memories. I mean, it's just wonderful. And I every time I think about it, I think of my grandfather and how he said, honey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to school here. Little did I know. It was wonderful. I guess, I don't know. Some things are just special, and you never get over it.
My name's Gerald Miller. I was born here in town. Basically lived around town here all my life. Been involved in basically everything there was to get involved in town, you know, churches and everything. The town and the school, the closeness of all that was, it was just a time, several things created that. No doubt the Second World War. After that, there was a bond not only in communities and schools and everything, but as a country we were too. We were very unified, very close, you know. Nowadays, you don't have any of that. There's none. You don't have that here in the community, and it's not so much the people. It's just that people, the people grow up. The kids that grow up now don't stay here, and it's not just a local thing. It's the kids have to go where they can find employment, and so the people that move into town to take their place, they don't stay. There's not that bond. There's not that, so they don't get involved in school activities. They don't get involved in churches and things in town. You know what I mean? Because there's not that commitment, but this town is no different than, you know, all the small towns, even bigger towns. It's all that's the same way. There will be a lot of people here tonight that I haven't seen for a long time, but there's that attachment to that. There's that. You know, wondering what goes on in their life, trying to keep, you know, it's just, they're concerned, and you are too, you know, the school part, the teachers, you know, all the teachers we had, biggest part of them either lived here in town or out in Milan. So you have that attachment, not only in the principals, it's the same way. Now, most of the teachers, some of them live over in North Kentucky. You know, they drive over here every day. It has nothing to do with good or bad teachers, it's just how things have changed. But you don't have that bond. You know, it's not there. You know, it's just different. Here in town, every town has what I would call pillars of the community. And there's always somebody comes along when they're gone, somebody comes along and takes their place. You don't have that now. You don't have them pillars of community. You have people's intentions are good, but for people to be a pillar of the community, they have to be long sustaining. They're usually either a principal or a banker or a doctor or somebody like that, you know what I mean, that the whole community is always attached to. But you don't have, you don't have that anymore. And when kids are growing up and everything, they have to have somebody to look up to. There's that role model, you know what I mean? And now kids attached to sports players. And you got the internet, so they can get it, they attach to all. But again, the community bond is lost. That's not part of any of that, but it's just times change. Some of them times was not real good on a lot of people. I mean, a lot of the people, even in my time growing up, a lot of the kids struggled. They struggled with their life growing up. They financially was not good, but they was never separated. They were still part of that bond. We never looked at other kids. I mean, in our eyes growing up, we never looked at them that way. We looked at them like a brother or sister. I mean, but now you have all that. It all separates now. Kids separate each other, society separates each other, and it's just that's part of it, Small towns have the same problems as big towns. The only thing, the big towns' problems are bigger. As far as the town itself, don't know. Down the road, I don't know how they're going to survive. You try to do, they try to keep up with the bigger towns, but financially, it's a struggle. Just the basic needs that the town needs is very complicated. It's and the tax base keeps going down because the value of the buildings and everything, deteriorates. And if you don't have people that is interested in and pride in the place where they live and take care of their place, you know what I mean? They just move in, live a while, and leave again. Well, you can't, long term, that doesn't work. And that's kind of where they're at. I don't know. And then it's a two-edged sword, because the people that come here and live, and they can't afford the tax to sustain a town like it really needs to be. This is what you run into. Small schools are the same way. It's not that the small schools are probably that bond thing. You give up that bond thing in a little school for the financial end, Now, I guess you could debate one or the other. Since I grew up with the bond thing, I would argue that the bond thing is probably more important. But it's there's no easy answers. I mean, if I had my choice, I'd grow up in a small town again. You know, but if people grow up in a big town, they'd probably think you're kind of backwards. And we probably are, you know. So we'll just have to, you know, my age, somebody will be taking my place. And maybe it'll be better. I mean, Dad always told me, you know, there'll be somebody to take your place the day you quit your job or whatever, and chances are they'll do the job better and quicker than you ever thought about. And that's probably true. So, but you know, we just have to wait and see. We don't know where this is all going, you know.